Good evening and welcome to the January 10th regularly scheduled meeting of the Glendale Commission on the Status of Women. And I would first of all like to wish everyone out there a very happy new year. Have a roll call, please, Ms. Babumian.
Commissioner Donnellian, Commissioner Garsavanian,
Present.
Commissioner Hunt,
Present.
Vice Chair Tashjian,
Present.
Commissioner Walker, Chair Devine.
Here. Item.
At 1A, we have the report regarding the posting of the agenda. The agenda for the January 10, 2011 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside of City Hall on or before January 7, 2011.
Next item.
Under introductions and presentations, at A, we have the introduction of our new commissioner, Chris Garsavanian. I'd like to welcome Chris and ask him to share a little bit about himself, please.
Thank you. I'd like to first of all thank the City Council for appointing me and most importantly, Mr. Quintero. I have lived in Glendale for most of my adult life, and being raised by my mother, she raised me to be very aware of women's rights and health awareness and advocacy. So being a male, I want to channel that through her and bring that point of view to this council. I have worked on a lot of volunteer organizations like the Gay and Lesbian Armenian Society, which I am the vice president of, the Armenian Council of America, the PAC. I've worked on the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure for Breast Cancer Research, on the Guides Youth Organization, also with the Kiwanis of California, Nevada, and Hawaii. I have worked on their district foundation, and I was the governor of Key Club, which is their high school division. We did a lot of community service and leadership awareness, and children was our focus. I will be attending UCLA this fall as a political science, Middle Eastern studies major. About it.
Thank you. Well, we welcome you to the commission. Item.
At B, this is part of our Elevating Women theme for 2011, and since January is our Anti-Bullying Awareness Month, we have Melina Sardar from Bully Me Not, which is the organization that the commission recently joined. So, welcome, Melina.
Welcome. Melina,
Thank you.
before you begin, let's make note that Commissioner Walker is now
Thank you.
present. Welcome, Melina.
Thank you very much. Chair Devine, members of the commission and staff, first I want to wish all of you a Happy New Year. And I was very excited when I spoke with Christine that she told me about the theme this year, and that this month was Anti-Bullying Month. And it just happens to, I guess, call it a coincidence, or I'm not sure what, but Bully Me Not is a group that's been working in the past 7 months to put some events together, and one of our events actually started today. It's a 3-day Train the Trainer event where we invited Swellen Freed, who's a nationally known author, as well as the founder of Bully Safe USA, who's here, and the training actually began today. We had about 30 participants. Among the participants who are being trained with Swellen's curriculum on raising awareness about bullying and so forth. And I'll talk to you a little bit about her curriculum and the impact that it has on the audience, whoever they may be, whether teens, children, or adults. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Bully Me Not and some of the other projects that we're going to be involved in. But if I can ask Christine to maybe show a PSA from our honorary chair, Fritz Coleman, who's agreed to be on board with us. Which is a huge honor, of course. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the PSA that Fritz has, and then I'll continue with my presentation.
Hello, I'm Fritz Coleman from NBCLA. I'm very honored to be the honorary chairperson for the Bully Me Not campaign 2010-2011. Here's a dark statistic. Every single day in America, 160,000 students stay home from school because they're afraid of being bullied. on the playground, in the classroom, in the hallway, in the gym, on the way home from school. More and more kids every day are going to the doctor with depression or sleep disorders, all born out of being bullied. Many tragic news stories over the last year or so about kids who commit suicide because they just couldn't take the bullying any longer. Well, you know what? We shouldn't take the bullying any longer. It's inexcusable. Make yourself aware of bullying within your child's circle of friends or schoolmates. Make yourself aware of bullying in your neighborhood or community, even if you're not a parent. Help give a child the courage to say, "Bully me not." Thanks.
Thank you, Fritz. And actually, Fritz Coleman will be at our forum tomorrow. We're having a community forum here in Glendale, which is going to start at 6:30. And I know Christine has a flyer that we can put up so that you can take some information. And at the forum, we're actually going to have a panel of experts who are going to talk about the topic of bullying, the effects of it, and introduce the different, like we're going to talk about physical bullying, verbal bullying, emotional bullying, and how, what they really are. Because sometimes we have behaviors that we think it's okay, and we do it almost daily, but we don't know the impact that it has on other people. So the forum is really going to give us an opportunity to just raise awareness, educate, and it's just one of our ways to really promote the whole idea of just having empathy for one another and spreading the concept of kindness. And, you know, our mission is simple. We basically don't want to have one of our, Glendale teens or any teen, as a matter of fact, end up on one of these magazines of people who've committed suicide because they could not take bullying any longer. So our mission is not that complicated, really. It's very simple. It's about how do we raise awareness, how do we learn to stop patterns and behaviors that do not serve ourselves and each other, and so that's kind of what Bully Me Not is involved in. Tonight I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about maybe for people who may not be able to come to the forum tomorrow, just talk a little bit about the different types of bullying and the effects that it has on individuals. Okay, let's see. So as you heard Fritz Coleman say, there's so many statistics out there about what happens to students. And I really want to emphasize this as well, that bullying is not a school issue. It's a community issue. It can happen in your workplace. It can happen in our neighborhoods. It can happen anywhere. So we don't want to, when we talk about bullying, we generally we talk about children, because that's the age we want to start working on prevention and teaching tools and techniques where children and teenagers can understand the effects of it. But it's really not a school issue, and we just want to talk about this, that it happens and it can happen anywhere. With the statistics that Fritz Coleman shared, with that 160,000 students stay home every day from school because they're just afraid what's going to happen to them once they're at school. And some of the other facts that I wanted to share that research shows, in 2/3 of the 37 school shootings since 1974, the attackers felt persecuted, bullied, threatened, attacked, or injured. Some other dark statistics. Between 1980 and 1997, the rate of suicides increased 109% for 10 to 14-year-olds. And when we look at crime statistics, 1 in 4 children identified as a bully in the 3rd grade ends up having a criminal record by the time they're 29 years old. And Sue Ellen Freed actually talks about this in her training. I did Sue Ellen's training in 2004, and for me, I took it as kind of a professional development opportunity, and when I did it, it really opened my eyes about how even when I was a teenager, being an immigrant, when I came here and I didn't speak the language, how much of the things that happened to me were also acts of bullying, and how it affected me, and how as a result I changed certain types of my behaviors just to deal with the effects of it. And I'm just so happy that Sue Ellen's back again. She's from Kansas City, so we invited her back and to do the training again, because when we did it in 2004, in our community, I was the only one who actually took the curriculum and started teaching it to local youth groups, camps and so forth. But we really wanted to, with having all these news articles and issues coming up, we really wanted to increase the number of trainers who can take this curriculum and take it to their own schools and their neighborhoods. And, like I said, currently we have about 30 participants. We have the Glendale Unified School District was very cooperative and really stepped up and invited their school counselors, teachers, assistant principals, and principals to come and participate in the training. And I had an opportunity to step in today a little bit during the training, and it was just great. People were really involved, and it's just really exciting because this means that more people are going to take this curriculum and are going to take it to their classrooms and their neighborhoods and start really teaching of how, the art of kindness and empathy. And that's really what Sue Ellen's message is in her trainings. At least that's what I got when I did her training. So as Sue Ellen states that bullying can no longer be viewed as a rite of passage, an inevitable schoolyard experience that kids can handle by themselves if adults just stay out of the picture. Too many children have killed themselves and killed others to view this behavior as benign. So I think it's every one of our responsibilities, and I'm just really happy to say that when we organized Bully Me Not, about 26 local organizations, nonprofits, our 3 local hospitals stepped in, and as well as the Commission on Status of Women stepped in and said, we want to be part of this mission, we want to support, and we want to help in any way that we can. And I just really want to extend our gratitude to you and to everybody else in the community who just really saw this, that it's really a big issue, and we need to take some proactive steps to raise awareness. I don't think, I don't know if we can really eliminate bullying ever, because but it's kind of it starts with one person and awareness, and then it goes down. And I was talking to, I'm not sure who I was talking to today, and I was telling him about a movie that I just recently saw. It's called Pay It Forward. I don't know if you've seen it, but that's really what the whole concept is. If you just pay it forward, you make a difference in one person's life with the hopes of that person will take it on and take on the message of kindness and empathy to the next person. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, if I have the time, I can talk a little bit about bullying and the different types, and then I can entertain any questions that you may have. So bullying can come in many different forms, and sometimes we don't really realize how our behavior does affect those around us. In the community, as Christine said, I do wear many different hats, and one of the hats I wear is I'm the education director for ARC Family Center, a local nonprofit, and I mentor about 20 youth and adults almost on a weekly basis. They're waiting for me actually right now. My meeting is at 7 o'clock with them. And I brought up the topic of bullying with them in my couple meetings ago. And I said, so do you guys think this happens here in our meetings? And one of the girls raised her hand, and she said, yes, actually, this guy, and I'm not going to mention any names, he keeps telling me that I'm too tall. And the guy said, so what's wrong with that? That's a compliment. There's not too many girls that are that tall. She goes, I don't like it. It hurts me. It bothers me. And so he had no idea that just calling someone you're too tall, or oh, look at you, you're getting taller and taller every day. He didn't realize that his simple, just the verbal comments were affecting someone else. So, we took care of that. But that's really what we want to talk about. So, the different types of bullying, they can be physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, and cyber bullying. Physical bullying can be kicking, shoving, biting, hair pulling, slapping, pinching, using use of weapons. And when we talk about these, when I teach this curriculum and I talk to kids, they're like, really? Like, yeah, we pull each other's hair all the time, and they don't realize the effects that it has, because sometimes people just laugh it off and say, oh yeah, or they do it, themselves, but these are all identified as acts of bullying. Verbal can be name calling, put downs, cursing, yelling, threatening, gossiping, and spreading rumors. Emotional bullying can be just rolling eyes or giving someone the evil eye. Pointing and laughing at another. Girls are really good at this. They get into groups and they, point at people and they laugh, and that really has a huge impact on the receiver, on the target. Using hand signs, for example, the loser sign, excluding others, rejecting, and when there's birthday parties and you invite, let's say, 15 of your classmates, but you exclude 2 of them. And then you come back the next day and you talk about the party and how fun it was. That's emotional bullying to the other 2 who maybe were not present at the party or who were excluded. So these are some certain forms of emotional bullying. Sexual can be making fun of someone's body, discriminating because of gender, making comments about sexual orientation, touching someone inappropriately. These can be all part of sexual bullying. And it's interesting, today Sue Ellen was doing a presentation at Toll Middle School, and I was there this morning, and when she was talking to the students, and they said, which one of these bullying, and she also talked about cyber, which I'll touch on in just a second. She said, which one of these bullying do you think happens more often on campus or that you've experienced? And verbal and sexual were the 2 the more dominant types of bullying that the kids said that they've experienced or they see happening. Cyberbullying is kind of a newer term because of the increase in technology and texting and internet use, and this is when internet bullying can happen via chat rooms, on Facebook, blogs, instant messaging, or emails. And I've heard stories of just people who shared pictures, maybe texting them to one another, and, maybe they were dating someone and then they broke up and the guy started using, or the other partner started using the pictures, and these really caused the other person who was, just a lot of pain. It's just really, really painful, because when you have your name spread and you walk into school the next day or you walk into work the next day and people are, again, pointing at you or saying, oh, we saw that picture. It's very disturbing. So, of course, tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about resources that are available and what people can do if they are experiencing bullying and or know of people or have children themselves that have experienced this. So I really want to extend our invitation to everybody. This is a free forum tomorrow night, again, at the Glendale Unified School District Boardroom at 6:30 p.m. And Sue Ellen Freed is going to be there, and she's going to do a presentation as well as a panel of experts who will talk on the topic of bullying. And I just wanted to share, some of the resources that can be available. Ellen DeGeneres is doing a huge campaign now as well on the topic, and on her website there's an array of resources available. So I just want to encourage people who may be interested to learn more about what's out there and how they can get help to log on Ellen DeGeneres' website, and they can get a lot of resources through there. Bully Me Not is a very new organization. We're not even really an organization. We're a group of people who are committed and dedicated about this topic. We don't have any resources per se, but we will be donating some books to the library, and I really wanted to also thank the Commission for sponsoring some of the books that we're going to be donating to the library, and that's going to take place April 14th of this year, and we'll probably come back and maybe make an announcement about that as well. But if anybody has any questions about Bully Me Not or any of the events that we have going on, they're welcome to contact me. My phone number is on that flyer. It's 818-937-8023. I can be reached, and you can probably not see it, huh? It's too small? Yeah, it's okay. That's fine. It's 818-937-8023, and anybody's welcome to call me to get more information. So that's pretty much all I'm here to share with you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or comments if you may have any.
I just want to mention that the forum is tomorrow night,
Yes.
7 to 9, at the Glendale Unified School District Boardroom, so that everyone knows it's 6:30 or 7.
It's 6:30, but the actual event, 6:30 is check-in and registration, but the actual forum will begin at 7 p.m.
So everyone knows that.
Yes.
Thank you, Melina. The commission is very happy to be a part of this, and
Thank you.
And I know that the forum is going to be great, and I think it's wonderful that we now have 30 trainers out there. That would
Absolutely.
be great. I'm going to open it to the commission. They might have some questions.
Sure.
Would anyone like to ask questions?
Yes, I do.
Vice Chair Toster?
I understand, and I know the commission understands that there are 5 forms of bullying, which you mentioned, and that bullying crosses social lines. It's just not, well, it's boys, girls, black, white, disabled or not, money or people who don't have any money.
Right.
Would you be able to explain to our audience what parents should look for as warning signs?
Absolutely.
Very briefly, please.
Sure. When the child comes home and has constant excuses for not wanting to go back to school the next day, or because children usually don't like to talk about what happens at school because they're embarrassed or they don't want the parent to get up and come to school and make a bigger issue of it. They kind of think they can handle it on their own. So constant excuses for not wanting to go to school, stomach aches, headaches, just starting to do poorly in the classroom, because when you're being bullied, you shut down. You're not able to concentrate on your schoolwork, so even teachers can pick up if there's dropping grades, your grades are dropping. So those kinds of signs, usually what I hear from parents or when I'm working with teens is that just different types of excuses every time for not wanting to go back to wherever it is. Maybe it's a sport group that they belong to, or I remember way back when I joined the sport group, and I was kind of a newcomer, and the girls had been together most of their life. They grew up together, so I didn't fit in, and it was so challenging for me to go back to practice week after week, knowing that they kept kind of singling me out and so forth. So there were many times that I didn't want to go back and play, but I was comfortable enough to talk to my parents about and let them know that there were things that were happening that were hurting me. But sometimes parents are not able to be present for that kind of conversation. So just excuses for not wanting to go back to school, headaches, stomach aches, low energy, fatigue, things like that children display, is things that parents should pay attention to. And tomorrow, we'll talk a lot more about that. Sue Ellen will address that, as well as rest of our panel members, and including myself. But those are things that I've experienced personally, that children, use excuses for not wanting to go to school. And
I remember when I was teaching, we were always, at all the workshops and professional days that we had, we were always taught to watch our students, and when they started to deviate from the norm, we were used to seeing them do a certain activity, act a certain way. If we saw them start not acting that way, that was to be alert and to watch. And I think that's good advice to parents. Any deviation from the norm is something to be concerned about. Commissioner Hunt?
I just had a question about the Fritz Coleman PSA. Where is that being shown?
We're showing that at any presentations that we've made, as well as Channel 6 is running that PSA. And he showed it on, I think he either talked, I'm not sure, I talked to Fritz today, but I wasn't able to find out if he actually showed the PSA or he talked about it in last Friday's weather during his presentation, yeah.
I had a friend that was watching him, and he mentioned, he did the weather, and he stopped and he said, I want to mention that I'm the
honorary chair,
chair of Bullying Me Not in Glendale, and I'm so proud that they're doing all this. So he's great.
He's wonderful. We're so fortunate to have him on board.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Commissioner Garza-Flanagan?
Can you tell me about the books on the wish list? You might have addressed them, but I didn't.
Sure. The books were actually, when we were thinking of what kinds of events to do in the community, back in 2004 or 3, I don't remember, another group that still is in existence, which is called Community Action Against Bullying, which I'm the chairperson of, we donated some books to the library. And
Glendale City Library?
Glendale City Library, yeah. And we talked to the library again. They said those books that we donated are completely, they've been checked out so many times that we just need to replace them with new books. So they gave us a new list of books that they would like them to have in their collection. So that's how we got the list from them. And our committee, as well as whoever was involved, we started purchasing these books so that we can, on April 14th, which is our next event, donate these books to the library collection. They're going to be at the Central Library as well as a few other smaller libraries around town. Yeah.
That's great. In the future, maybe we can focus on the individual Glendale Unified School District libraries.
Sure.
School.
Sure. That's a great suggestion. Yeah. Thank you.
And I believe...
And,
Chair-
go ahead, yes.
Yeah, I believe, Chair Devine, that Sue Ellen Freed has 3 books out.
Yes.
And one of them is Bullies and Victims, the Basics, which I did read excerpts of. I think that's something that our audience should know and should check out at the library if they can.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Sue Ellen talked about her books today, all 3 of them. And the reason why she did another book after doing the Bullies and Victims is because she learned that the word victim, she didn't no longer want to use the word victim. Because when we talk about victim, it's kind of like you're selfless, you need help, and so she changed it to target. So her next book, she talked about bullies, targets, and witnesses, I think. And then her third book, she didn't want to label at all, so she called it Banishing Bullying Behavior or something like that. I don't remember it, but so she's more focusing on the behavior. And what I really appreciate about her books is, and she's wonderful. If you can be there tomorrow to meet her, she's just such a kind woman, and she's on a mission to just spread kindness and empathy and teach her her beliefs on how we should be treating one another. But her books have a lot of stories of students that she's taught to, and they share their stories and what happened and how they learned that their behavior was not okay, and so that's what I've appreciated about her books, a lot of the stories that kids share, and you learn a lot from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Melina. Well, since we are part of this coalition, I hope that all of us will be there tomorrow night.
I hope so. Thank you.
En masse at 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 at the Glendale Unified School District Board office.
Boardroom. Yes.
Boardroom on Jackson. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for those of you that don't know, Melina also teaches at our Camp Rosie in the summer, and she's absolutely amazing with the girls. She does a great job. So thank you, Melina. Next item.
Chair Devine, just a point
Yes.
of clarification
Yes.
before we move on. We won't be able to air the Fritz Coleman DVD on GTV6, but we will work with our Information Services Department to have a link from the Commission website to the Fritz Coleman PS.
Baboumi.
Thank you.
Next item.
At 3 is oral comment. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Time is limited to an amount to be set by the chair. The commission may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or discussion. Staff may refer the matter to the proper department for investigation and report.
I have no cards and no speakers. We'll move on to the next item, please.
At 4, consent items. A is approval of the minutes of the regular commission meeting held on December 13th, 2010. This will require the abstentions of Commissioner Garsavanian and Tushchin.
Are there any additions or corrections in the minutes? From last month, rather. Okay, if that's the case, do I have unanimous? And Grace.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Under 5 business agenda action items, at 1 is consideration and discussion of Bully Me Not book sponsorship, and at A is a motion to provide direction regarding the sponsorship of books. Would you like a brief report?
Please, a brief report.
At the last regular meeting, the Commission on the Status of Women took action to join Bully Me Not, which is a coalition of various community leaders and organizations who, as we saw from Melina's presentation, are here to combat bullying. Currently, there are 3 major activities being planned by Bully Me Not, which includes a book drive, in which a collection of various books on the topic of bullying will be donated to Glendale libraries. Right now, members of Bully Me Not are working to solicit funds that will go towards the purchase of the books, as the list is being provided by the Glendale Central Library. And individual community members have stepped forward and indicated that they will cover any deficits and costs, but the coalition is still actively working to try to raise funds for as many books as possible. And per the Commission's request last month, staff is bringing this report back to request direction on supporting the book drive. Right now, there are over 30 books on the wish list. The average price for each book is approximately $20, and staff respectfully recommends that the Commission sponsor books in an amount not to exceed $100. And the Commission can either direct staff to select these books, provide a list, or the Commission can donate the $100 and allow the organizers of the book drive to purchase books where there are deficits with particular titles. And we can arrange to have the Commission's name put in $100 worth of books so that patrons know that it was donated by the Commission. And that concludes my report, if you have any questions.
Thank you. For those of you that weren't here last month, the reason we came up with $100 was because I actually had a list of, I think it was 5 books, and we just added the total of those 5 books, thinking that those were the 5 that were going to the libraries, and came up with $100. Then I came to find out that there were like 25 other books. But with $100, we will be able to donate at least 5 books. And in each book, it will say donated by the Commission on the Glendale Commission on the Status of Women. So we need actually 2 motions. We need a motion for the amount of the donation.
Yes, please.
And then we need the second on how the books will be selected. So shall we do just the first one?
I believe, I'm sorry, Chair Devine, I believe we can do it in one.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So do I have discussion on, do we want to choose, have the list to choose, or do we want to just appropriate the money to the Glendale Rotary? They're the ones that are handling this, and let them select the books that maybe have not been paid for, or that whatever they need, their requests.
I have a question.
Commissioner Hunt?
So the check would be written then to the Glendale Rotary Club?
Correct. Because they're the ones
They're the ones who are organizing the
Exactly.
actual purchases.
Yes, that's correct. The Glendale Rotary Foundation.
And Commissioner Hunt, we can write the check for $100 to Glendale Rotary and not specify books, or we can specify particular books, because there is a list of books, and I believe there are various libraries that they're being donated to. So any individual or any organization can select not only the book, but which library they would like the book to go to. I believe.
And is it the noon Rotary on Thursday, the
Yes,
Thursday noon Rotary
correct.
that's handling this?
One,
Okay.
yes. Zavin.
Zavin.
Is president, yes. Do you have any discussion? Or?
Well, Ms. Sardar said that they had certain books that were checked out and needed to be replaced, so we should maybe let them.
Make a motion to that effect for the amount, and
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to make a donation of $100 worth of books to Bully Me Not. Towards make the check made out to Glendale Rotary.
At the books.
the choice of the books.
Oh, and let them choose the books.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please, Ms. Babumian.
Commissioner Garsavanian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tushchin,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
and Chair Devine.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair Devine, if
Yes.
it's okay with you, I would like to go back to consent items for, just to get I'm sorry to do this, a formal motion and a second for the approval of the minutes.
Oh,
I think.
did we skip that? Okay.
We mentioned unanimous consensus, but
Right, we
just
forgot to
for
get the motion.
the minutes.
Okay, do
we'd
I have a
like
motion for accepting
So
the
moved.
second? Second.
I don't think we can.
Commissioner Walker.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Back to 5, business agenda. At 2, we have nomination and appointment of delegate and alternate commission representatives for the National Association of Commissions for Women, also known as NACW, and the Association of California Commissions for Women, known as ACCW, for the term of January 2011 through December 2011. At A is a motion to appoint a commission delegate for NACW. At B is a motion to appoint a commission alternate for NACW. At C is a motion to appoint a commission delegate for ACCW, and at D is a motion to appoint a commission alternate for ACCW.
Board, please.
The Commission on the Status of Women has been a member of both these major associations, the NACW and the ACCW, since July of 2004. The NACW holds an annual convention during July each year and affords the opportunity for a delegate to vote on behalf of each member commission. The 2011 annual conference for NACW is scheduled for the third week of July in Phoenix, Arizona. The cost of registration is $350 and early registration is $325. These figures do not include transportation and accommodations, and NACW staff has indicated that room rates will be approximately $89. The ACCW holds 4 quarterly meetings per year and asks that each commission select a representative and an alternate to vote on behalf of the commission during the business portion of the quarterly meetings and convention. In previous years, the ACCW regularly held 4 quarterly meetings, 2 in Northern California and 2 in Southern California, and an annual or biannual convention for member commissions. And due to the economic climate of the state, the ACCW has converted 2 of its 4 meetings into teleconferences. And the meetings that happen on-site in Northern California and Southern California are day-long, and there are no overnight expenses. There would just be transportation to and from the meeting. As delegates, commissioners will represent the Glendale Commission on the Status of Women and cast the vote of the Glendale CSW. The Commission has empowered their representatives to vote at business meetings by casting the vote as good faith representation, to vote according to the articulated position whenever possible, and to utilize individual judgment and collaboration with the alternate and other Commission representatives to come to good faith decisions for the good of the Commission, the City Council, and the City. The NACW and ACCW delegates who attend each meeting may provide an oral report to the Commission at the following Commission meeting. For the purposes of the selection of the designee and the alternate, any commissioner may serve in these capacities. As far as fiscal impacts, the membership dues for both the ACCW and NACW are paid for from the city manager's administrative budget. And due to citywide budgetary constraints, funds are, again, as in last year, funds are not available to cover travel expenses, which means that appointments of delegates or alternates do entail a personal financial commitment.
I have a question. Does the city cover the cost for registering for the NACW, the National Convention?
don't
It
bel-
has in the past, I just don't know. I know it doesn't cover travel, I know that. But does it cover, we're not,
I believe last year, to my recollection, last year it was not covered. I know no
Okay,
one was
okay.
able to
All right.
attend.
So if anybody wanted to go to Phoenix, they would have to
Yes.
pay the funds themselves. Okay. I can't, for those of you that are new, and that's 3 of you, I can't stress enough how valuable it is to be a delegate at least once to the California Association. They have, as Ms. Babumian said, there are two meetings Southern California, and those are usually close enough. Last year it was in Manhattan Beach, and I went, and it was a great meeting. They've had them in L.A., Palm Springs. I mean, they're close enough that you can get to them. The ones up north sometimes are a little bit dicier because of transportation and stuff. But now that we have the conference calls, it makes it a lot easier. But to meet the women face-to-face that are on these commissions is quite remarkable. I think they're great and smart. And you learn a lot. And the one thing you actually, which I think is even more important, is the fact that you learn how this commission is held in high regard across the state. And we share ideas, and it really brings all of these commissions together. So I would really like to see one of our new commissioners be a delegate for the ACCW, the California Commission Association. But that's totally up to you. I'm just suggesting. So do I have any volunteers for delegate to the, let's do the California, the ACCW first.
I'd like to volunteer
For the delegate?
For the ACCW.
Great. And alternate?
Well, I guess I'll volunteer as the alternate.
Well, you know, and you two could go to the meetings together, too. That would be
Absolutely.
great, huh? Okay. All right, and the national? Thank you, both of you. Should we, we'll just do it all, and then we'll, for the national, I'll volunteer for that one. Go to Phoenix. That's a terrific convention, really. I've been to that before when it was in Albuquerque and up north in Monterey, and it's does anyone want to volunteer to be alternate? None?
We can have no
Okay,
motion.
that's
fine.
right. Okay. So I need a motion for, to accept Commissioner Garzavanian as our delegate for the W and Commissioner Bastian as our alternate, and for the second.
Seconded.
Are we in consensus, everyone? Yes. Okay. Great.
Thank you
good.
very
Thank
much.
you. Okay.
Love to have gone with you, but maybe next year. Get past that.
You don't have another daughter, do you?
No, well, yeah, no.
Okay. Next item, please.
At 3, we have a discussion regarding the change for the time of the regular meetings for the Commission on the Status of Women, and at A is a resolution requesting direction regarding the change in time. A
Okay, brief report, please.
Chair Devine, members of the Commission, since the inception of the Commission on the Status of Women in 2003, regular meetings have been held the second Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. in council chambers, as determined by City Council. At the request of the Chair, this report is being brought to the Commission to discuss moving the regular meetings of the Commission to an earlier time, remaining on the second Monday of each month. Currently, meetings are held after the city's regular operating hours, which are from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. If meetings were to be held during regular operating hours, the city's general fund would benefit due to a savings associated with staffing costs. Additionally, if meetings began at 5:30 p.m., there would still be a considerable cost savings as staff remains in the office for the 1-hour period before meetings begin at 6:30 p.m. Currently, there are no other boards or commissions nor City Council who meets any later than 6 p.m., and since there are no other meetings on the regularly scheduled meeting days for the Commission is free to meet at any time it chooses. Any changes to the meeting time may be approved by a resolution per the Glendale Municipal Code, and staff respectfully recommends that the Commission provide direction regarding the proposed change in time of the regular meetings of the Commission on the Status of Women.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will add that we have thought of doing this in the past, but I think now with the budgetary problems that we're having here in the city, it behooves us to look at this very closely. We could save the city, the general fund, a great deal of money, and I think that it would be kind of even better for us to meet earlier. So I open it up for commission discussion. Start?
So the recommendation is to start our meetings at 5:30 or earlier than
We
5:30?
can recommend 5
5
o'clock,
o'clock?
or 4 o'clock, or
Or 6.
Six?
Vice Chair Tashin,
Yes.
members of the commission, staff didn't want to make any particular recommendations because it is very important to still maintain a time that's accessible for all our current commissioners, and that's something that staff definitely is keeping in mind. This is just simply opening up a discussion to see if the commission is even interested in it, if it's something that's feasible. If it's not, staff has no problem keeping the time at 6:30, but just did want to bring it into consideration.
It seemed to me that the factor would be when we can all get here. I have no trouble getting here at 4 o'clock or whenever. So, but that may not be everybody's case.
Commissioner Tostian, what would be your earliest?
I was looking at the list of the commissions and what time they usually begin, and it seems like 5 or 5:30 will be appropriate.
5 o'clock would be
But 5:30 seems.
5:30.
I
Mr.
think,
Walker?
Yeah, 5:30 would be good. And I think it's also crucial that we think about future commissioners, not just
Yes.
our own schedules,
Yep.
so that we're able to accommodate working future
Correct.
commissioners.
Right. Yes. Okay, so if we agree on 5:30, then do we have a motion for this resolution?
I'll make the motion to move our meetings from 6:30 to 5:30.
Second that.
Everyone? And,
To adopt the resolution that's been presented before.
pardon?
Madam Chair, members
Yes.
of the commission, there's a draft resolution that is part of your packet. We ask that you review that. The ordinance requires that you adopt a resolution. It's like a motion, except it's a little bit more formal. Because you are changing your regular meeting time, we're doing it in a resolution format. I don't think we've adopted a resolution in the
No,
past.
we haven't. This is our
but,
first.
Yeah, since the ordinance requires that you do it by resolution, there's a draft resolution that we've prepared for your review.
Okay,
So is that in
shall-
addition?
Do we,
It's instead of the motion.
Instead of the motion?
do we
Adopt the
So the
resolution.
person that is going to, should read the resolution, and then we'll vote on it?
You don't necessarily need to read the entire motion into the
Say that
record
you-
because it was part of the packet. But I think what you are proposing is that the
Adopting the
commission adopt the
resolution.
resolution as presented.
So that would be what your motion would be.
will it be a motion to adopt the resolution?
Correct.
Then I'll
Yes.
make the motion to adopt the resolution to change the meeting time from 6:30 PM to 5:30 PM.
I will second that.
I think we have unanimous consent on that one. Christine?
At 4 is consideration, I'm sorry.
I'm terribly sorry, but Vice Chair Tostian asked a very good question. When will this commence? When do we start 5:30 meetings?
Resolutions normally take effect, within 30 days, so it'll go into effect at the next meeting.
Our February meeting would be at 5:30.
Correct.
Okay.
You could specify it to take effect at a later meeting, but
No, it's good. We can do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if so in the future we decide to change the time again, is that as easy as a new resolution?
correct. We would just bring that back in the format.
Item, Ms. Baboumian.
At 4 is consideration and discussion of the 2011 Jewels of Glendale event budget proposal. At A is a motion providing direction regarding the 2011 Jewel of Glendale proposed budget, and at B is a motion providing direction regarding the GEM Student Award. I do have a report,
Okay.
Chair Devine.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Chair Devine, members of the Commission, at the last regular meeting of the Commission on the Status of Women, an update was presented regarding the date of the 7th Annual Jewels of Glendale Fundraising Luncheon. After receiving bids from different venues, the Oakmont Country Club was chosen as the venue for the event, which will be held on Thursday, May 5th, 2011. Currently, nominations for the 2011 Jewel of Glendale Award are still open and will close Friday, February 18th at 5 p.m. All interested parties or organizations are encouraged to nominate up to 2 women for consideration of the award, and those nomination forms can be found on the Commission's website. And they can also call and get that information as well. 818-548-4844. In previous years, the Commission has had speakers at the Jules event, and last year, the Commission chose to forego having a speaker and to focus on the Jewel Award winners, who were the only speakers at the event, and it is yet still to be determined if there will be a guest speaker this year. For this event, the sponsorship levels remained relatively similar to those of last year with very minor changes. The Diamond sponsorship is at $5,000 with 10 seats. The Sapphire sponsorship remains at $2,500 with 6 seats. The Emerald at $1,000 with 4 seats. The Ruby at $500 with 2 seats. Individual Jewel tickets will be $65 each, and the student tickets will be $30 each. In order to raise money for the various programs of the Commission, it's important for each member to actively secure sponsors for the event in collaboration with Commissioner Hunt, who is the chair of this year's event. It is recommended, as this has been the standing recommendation, I believe, for the Commission since the Jewels Luncheon began, that each Commissioner be responsible for the sale or purchase of 10 tickets for this event. Sponsorship packets will be sent to previous sponsors and award winners and will also be posted on the Commission's website. And as always, all net profits for the event do benefit the programs of the Commission, whether it's the Camp Rosie program or any programs that the Commission chooses to sponsor. As an additional source of revenue for the event, a silent auction will be held again this year, as has been done previously, and silent auction items will most likely be donated in order to maximize the funds raised by the Commission. As seen in Exhibit 1 of the report that's included, the proposed budget for the 2011 Jewels of Glendale event is $11,900, and this is given on 250 attendees. Now, of course, the cost and the profit will increase if the number of attendees increases, and conversely, the other way if we have less attendees. In an effort to raise as much money as possible, the Commission may acquire decorations as in-kind donations for advertisements in the program. And as done last year, the Commission will be able to save a considerable amount of money this year in regards to graphics. This is a result of the graphics department joining the Management Services Department, which does, where the Commission on the Status of Women is housed. And so we can internalize these costs and save a significant amount of money. So none of that comes at a cost to the Commission. That's absorbed by the city manager's budget. And we will have a city staff member there to take photos at the event, as we did last year. In the exhibit for the proposed budget, there is a line item for the GEM Scholarship Award. And back in June of 2009, at one of the regular meetings of the Commission took action to support a one-year, $1,000 GEM Award for a graduating high school senior from Glendale. This scholarship was awarded during the 2010 Jewels Luncheon. Adults from the community were encouraged to nominate students at the time, and the qualifications were as follows. A graduating high school senior, who is male or female, who lives in the city of Glendale, attends private school in the city of Glendale, or attends public school within the Glendale Unified School District. An individual who is registering in an institution of higher education, be it university, community college, trade, vocational school, or some sort of police or fire academy for the upcoming fall semester, have a minimum GPA of 2.5, and provide community service that benefits women and/or children. Since the action taken by the Commission for the creation of the GEM Scholarship was a one-time approval, staff respectfully requests that the Commission provide direction as to whether or not the Commission would like to provide this scholarship once again during the 2011 Jewels Luncheon. And in addition, staff respectfully requests direction regarding the overall proposed budget for the 2011 Jewels of Glendale Award, and that concludes.
Just as an update, Commissioner Hunt and Ms. Babumian and I will be meeting on January the 20th to iron out some of the issues on the program. So that's going to be taken care of in the next. So the question at hand right now, first of all, is Do we want to continue with the GEM Award this year, the scholarship award for student?
Well, I'm 100% behind this.
I am also, but I would propose that high school wasn't too long time ago for me, so I remember all the scholarships, and about 95% of them are a minimum GPA of 3.0, which is a plus. It's a B average and plus average. The 2.5 is B minus C plus. So I'm going to give them $1,000, I think.
Like a good idea. I think that's a suggestion. Yes? So we can, we'll need to adjust that, but we don't need a motion. So do we have a motion to continue the GEM Award for this year, once again, with a change in the minimum GPA to 3.0?
I'll make the motion.
Before we do, I have a question.
Sure.
It says a high school senior from Glendale. Does that include Glendale Unified School District high schools in La Crescenta and La Quinada?
Yes, definitely, yes.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Second. And we have, let's do a roll.
I'm sorry, just for the record, I was Commissioner Taschen who made the motion, and thank you. Apologize for that. Okay, roll. Commissioner Garcevanian?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt? Yes. Vice Chair Taschen?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Chair Devine? Thank you.
And the budget, were these, I have a question on the budget. Where you had the sponsorships?
These are estimates.
Were these not, yeah, were they based on last year's? No, or
No,
just,
they weren't.
no.
We,
Okay.
Chair Devine, members of the commission, last year we did not have any diamond sponsorships. I believe we had one sapphire sponsorship. Going off the top of my head here, 3 to 4 emerald sponsorships, and I believe 5 ruby sponsorships. This is a conservative yet slightly optimistic on the diamond.
Okay, and we still have the chair for sponsorships and the chair for ads up for grabs on the commission, and I'm going to offer those out again to Commissioner Walker or Commissioner Garcevanian.
I actually wanted to take the sponsorship chair.
Very good, thank you. Good. Walker?
I'll take the ads.
What are the other?
The other chairs are?
The other leads, Commissioner Garcevanian, is the silent auction, speaker and awards, sponsorships, and advertisements.
Chair.
And then the chair. Yeah. So those are the 4
Vice Chair
subcategories.
Vice Chair Tostian is the silent auction, doing the MC. Is chair of the event. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about the budget, and do we want to accept it as, usually it's pretty conservative, which I like, and we try to go above and beyond what's on this as far as the money that we make. Okay.
The revenue part we'd like to keep.
We need a motion to
I move
accept the
approval
budget.
of the budget for...
Second?
I'll second it.
We all agree? Do we have
Yes.
Thank you very much.
unanimous? Next item, please.
Moving on, still under business agenda, but information-only reports. At 1, we have the Commission on the Status of Women's 2011 Master Calendar of Events. And Chair Devine, I'd like to just point out that this is the monthly return of the Master Calendar to the Commission, as it always has been, but as the Commission will notice, it is being presented under action items, under business agenda, not as an action item, but as an informational report. This report will appear in this portion of the agenda from now on. The Commission may still add, delete, revise, make any corrections to the report as is, but since we really don't take motions, I felt that this is a more appropriate spot for the calendar, so FYI.
And I think that tonight would be an appropriate time, our first meeting in January of the year, to read the 12 months and the focus, because I think it's important for those of you that are out there watching, if there happens to be a topic that we are discussing at a certain month, if you have any suggestions or any views that you would like to hear at our meeting, would love to hear from you. So, Ms. Babumian, do you want to read January through December, please?
Starting in January, we had anti-bullying. In February will be teen dating violence awareness. March is economic empowerment. April is sexual assault awareness. May is women's health and nutrition. June is social services for low-income women. July is educational empowerment. August is job and career assistance. September is healthy aging. October is domestic violence awareness. November is family caregivers. And December is empowerment through giving.
If anyone out there that's watching is particularly interested in any of these months and you have suggestions, please call Ms. Babumian at 548-4844 so we can, Commissioner Hunt?
We will want to change the time. You list the meetings in each one of those.
Yes,
The time
those
on there.
will, of course, be changed. Thank you, Commissioner Hunt.
Oh, right, yes. All right, so we will note and file calendar.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
At 2 is an update for the 2011 Glendale Unified School District Yellow Ribbon Week Hands and Words Project.
Report.
Chair Devine, members of the Commission, Yellow Ribbon Week is the third week of January that's set aside by the Glendale Unified School District to raise awareness regarding violence and prevention efforts in the schools. This year, Yellow Ribbon Week takes place from January 17th through 21st, which is the week of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. For the past 6 years, the Commission on the Status of Women has partnered with the school district to bring the Hands and Words Are Not for Hurting Projects program into the district's curriculum. The mission of the Hands and Words Project is to educate each person in every community about their moral and legal right to live free of abuse and violence. At its December 2010 meeting, the Commission allocated $3,500 for materials to the school district for the implementation of the Hands and Words Project as a part of their Yellow Ribbon Week anti-violence activities. Stickers, pins, and informational brochures in English and Spanish were ordered, and the representative from the school district does select these based on feedback it gets from each school, and distributed among the schools in the district. And all of the allocated funds were spent. They were eager to obtain as much materials as possible. The banners that were ordered 2 years ago that have been used will again be used this year at all the schools. Static cling window decals were also ordered for the Commission, and a DVD titled The Power of One was donated to the Commission in appreciation for its continued support of the Hands and Words Project. Of the 29 schools in the district, again, all 29 will be voluntarily participating in the Hands and Words Project. This includes 20 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 5 high schools. My report.
Can you elaborate on that Power of One donation?
To be honest with you, there isn't much information, Chair Devine, about the DVD, and I haven't had the opportunity yet to review it. But I do believe it's an anti-violence DVD, and
So it was given to the Commission?
it was a donation. It was a gift.
From?
From Ann Kelly, who is the person who runs Hands and Words. She just wanted to send it to us as a thank you, perhaps something that we can utilize future events and programs.
Any questions?
And I can provide copies of the DVD. I can give the DVD to any commissioners who are interested in viewing it.
I'd like to
see
take a
it.
look at it, yeah, maybe we can. So you can make copies for each one of us, or would you rather ask that? Or?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and you also said in your report that the school district spent all the money and used all of the equipment, because I just wondered if you had any kind of information on making sure that all the, what's the inventory on what they have left over? Do we need to buy all the buttons? You know what I'm...
They
used everything?
spent well over $3,000, and again, Ann Kelly, she kind of made the shipping work so that it fit within our budget. So she's very flexible and appreciates the Commission's continued support of this project and implementing it in the school district.
I know the school district is very, very fond of this program and really happy that we do this every year. So do I have a motion to?
No motion
No
necessary.
motion necessary.
Simply an
Okay,
update.
I'm sorry, note and file. Okay. So used to doing the motions. Okay. Next item, please.
Moving on to item 6 is commission and staff comments.
Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Walker tonight.
Just want to welcome our new commissioner to our team and looking forward to more productive years.
I went to a couple of interesting things in this last month. The Glendale Renaissance Orchestra had its last performance at the Alex Theater earlier in December. Also, the American Association of University Women had its Founders Day luncheon at the Oakmont on Saturday, and the guest speaker there was Susan Straight. She's a LA Times columnist and novelist, and she was wonderful, actually. I, of course, bought 2 of her books, just like that. But very interesting. Writes novels based on experiences of real people and quotations she picks up from people that she overhears conversations. And it was very interesting listening to how she comes up with the plots for her novels. Coming up, of course, is Bully Me Not tomorrow night. The Youth Leadership Conference is at Glendale College on January 12th, sponsored by the Character and Ethics Project. We have 100 students coming from Glendale, La Cañada, and Burbank high schools to meet with adults from the community to talk about character and ethics issues. The Glendale Educational Foundation has its gala coming February 11. Seroptimus International PJ Collection is coming on March 5th. What's that, Saturday? 5th. And actually, Chair Devine just gave me a couple sets of pajamas right now. Seroptimus International Glendale collects pajamas and sleepwear for women and children. We distribute them to shelters and rehabilitation centers because when women are leaving a domestic violence situation or they're really down on their luck, nice sleepwear is the last thing on their list. So this is a nice thing we do. Wonderfully successful. And I'm looking forward to the PTA Forum on School Finance on January 29th. Busy time.
Vice Chair Tostian.
Thank you. I would also like to welcome our new commissioner. Chair Devine, I'm looking at the calendar of events. Our theme is Elevating Women in 2011. I just want to reiterate what you had mentioned earlier. These are 12 great sub-themes, and I would encourage everyone out there, those who either are listening to us, to attend our meetings. If you can't attend our meetings, to watch our meetings, and to provide whatever input you can into these the sub-themes that we have, because they're all important issues, not only to women, but to our community. And I did see this in front of me, and I don't know if I should read this or not, but last time I read something like this, I couldn't make it out, and but apparently this is an event that's hosted by Art and Paula Devine. Glendale Healthy Kids and Scarantino's present Popcorn, Pendants, and Paltrow. And that's Saturday, February 5th, 2011. It's at 604 Benoit Scotia Road, Glendale. And if you want more information on this, RSVP 818-548-7931. That's at 5:30, dinner at 6, and movie at 7:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Garcevanian?
Thank you. I just want to ask, is this Paltrow because of Gwyneth Paltrow?
It is as in Gwyneth. Sure, yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to...
Or double.
I'd like to thank this commission for welcoming me onto this commission. I plan to give it my all, and I respect all of you for doing the hard work that you do. I believe it's the most important commission because you can see the actual results in the community. And I'm looking forward to a great year.
Ms. Babumian?
Just a reminder to get those Jules nominations in, and we'll be putting up now the revised GEM form as well at www.ci.glendale.ca.us, and think of all the fabulous women and the students who could you definitely stand to be honored.
Save the date.
And save the date, please, Thursday, May 5th.
Okay, and in closing, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Garsavanian as well, and thank you for starting off, hitting the ground running and volunteering. I really appreciate that. I wanted to give an update on our diaper drive that we were a part of for Path Achieve. I attended the Homeless Connection Day at the Armory, and it was quite well attended, and they gave flu shots to the homeless, and they had clothing there and food and support system information, etc. But the final tally on the diapers, I know everybody wants to know this. This is big. This is big. 22,833 diapers were collected, and I don't know how they got the 3. Okay, we're not sure how they got 33, but almost 23,000 diapers were collected for the homeless, for domestic violence shelters, and other needy mothers in the community. So if any of you gave diapers, thank you so much. It was a huge success, and I'm sure that we'll be doing it again next year, and the Commission was very proud to be a part of that. I wanted to remind everybody, last month, former Commissioner Manasarian was here. She's the president of the PTA Council, and she talked to us about the Community Forum on Public Education. It's coming up on January 29th, and I know today the governor came out with all of his changes and cuts, and so parents, you might really want to be there, because they're going to be talking about how California funds its schools and what is the latest from Sacramento and what is program improvement and a lot of other great topics. So that's on January 20th at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Check-in begins at 8:30, and it's at the Pacific Community Center. So be sure to do that. And also, don't forget the forum tomorrow night. That's really important. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Commissioner Hunt. She's been chosen by the Latino Association as their Woman of the Year. And that's an honor, so
That's really great.
congratulations. Yes. Welcome. It's well deserved. So I want to say to everybody out there, don't forget the meeting next month will be at 5:30 p.m. Hope to see you all tomorrow night. Please, we're going to have cookies and a really good panel to discuss bullying. And I want to leave you with the thought: be the change that you wish to see in the world and in this community. Please attend these forums and learn how you can help our children and help yourselves. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Do I have a motion for adjournment? This meeting is adjourned at 7:47.
You, Chair Devine.